Hi, Aries Sun and Rising. Welcome to your August 2022 Astro Update. It's Raina here. So, August is Leo season for the first 3 weeks of the month because the Sun is there, and there are going to be personal planets also transiting through this house, which for Aries is the fifth house. It's such a great place. It's the house of love and creativity, and also the house of pleasure. So anything that you do for fun belongs to this area of life. And the Sun is here. The Sun is the ruler of the fifth house. So it's totally acclimated and very compatible with the energy here. And so what's really nice is that there's also going to be sixth house transits in August for you in the sign of Virgo, and that will get you organized and thinking about things on a more serious level as it relates to your health and your schedule and life, all the things that have to do with work related projects. So it's kind of like the best of both worlds, you could say. On the 4th of the month, Mercury goes into Virgo. So Mercury has been in that fifth house, and maybe you have been doing things that are fun, that involve the theater or anything, poetry readings. If you are a writer, perhaps you've been creative in this area. And there's a totally different vibe when Mercury goes into the sixth house because your mind is getting more practical instead of being creative. Also, Mercury in the fifth house can be talking to somebody that you are seriously crushing on or in love with. And in the sixth house, you're talking to employers or you're thinking about a diet. You know, the mind is working in a more practical way to improve your life. On the 11th, Venus goes into Leo, and the full moon at 19 degrees of Aquarius is in the opposite sign. Well, Aquarius is the opposite sign and the opposite house. So you have Venus going into that fifth house of love and creativity, and then you have this full moon that's taking place in the 11th house, which can be your hopes and wishes. And that can be very good for attaining one of your long range goals. And also it's good to note that the 11th house is a house of gains. So that could be financially lucrative for some of you. So who knows? Maybe Mercury in the sixth house is salary negotiations and you get it. But Venus in the fifth house can be love, and it can also be money from creative pursuits, money from a hobby. So this can also be, Venus is about pleasure as well in the house of pleasure. And I've often wondered, why doesn't Venus rule the fifth house? Since it seems like very much connected to fifth house matters, love and creativity and pleasure. So those things may be coming to you very easily at this time. That date of the 11th, keep that in mind because that seems to be a very powerful period for you. On the 20th, Mars goes into Gemini, and that's also a friendly angle, just like the trine to Leo. This is a sextile, and this is important too because this is going to set off a seven month? Or is it eight months? I think it's 7 months of having Mars and Gemini for you. So this is an important thing to keep in mind, Aries. You're going to have Mars in your third house. And so because Gemini rules the third house, this is enhanced for Aries people. This is like a double influence. And this is going to be affecting you for a long period of time because Mars is going to go retrograde at the end of October, and whether it's direct or it's retrograde, it's going to stay in that third house for months on end. And so I'm going to be doing a separate video on this, but just to kind of prepare you for this, Mars going into your third house can make you very like shooting from the hip, shooting off your mouth. Aries people are not the most diplomatic people on the planet to begin with, and you're very rash. You tend to be very rash. So, really, shut that pie hole if you can, or at least keep a close eye on your pie hole so that you don't say something that you regret. Can you tell I'm a Sag? I'm a fire sign too, because we have a reputation as well for kind of being blunt. So Mars, because Mars is your ruler, that just is gasoline to the fire. So anything that has to do with communication, social media, this is where you're on fire. You have a strong desire to do this. And August is still a month where you can, put your plans into action. So go for it. And, as September, from September until March, there's going to be retrograde action, and things are going to be a little bit slowed down. But if you feel called upon to continue preparing something, like maybe you're going to get training, that could be the third house, enhancing your skills, and you may feel like a strong desire to do so, then use your intuition and see if that will possibly be what is indicated for you. Because retrograde periods, that's not the end of the world if you do something or you start something during a retrograde period, as long as you have a good attitude about it, and if there are delays. If you're, if it's really, really like a big deal, then you might want to be a bit superstitious and just play it safe. But if it's no big deal, if it's like you can handle something going wrong, and it's not like going to make or break you, then do it if you feel called to do it for the rest of this year. But especially before October 30th, before Mars goes retrograde, you might find that you are really chomping at the bit to write something, to communicate, speak your truth in some way. On the 22nd, the sun goes into Virgo, so the sun goes into that area that is very practical and also very productive. So that can be good for you to get in high gear. On the 25th, Mercury goes into Libra. That's a more diplomatic area. That's the 7th house. And there could be negotiations with people who are having any kind of legal matters, or if you are looking to get married, you may be researching wedding venues, or getting your marriage certificate. Mercury can be your contracts and things of that nature. There's might be speaking to your partner more about things, or negotiating with anybody for that matter. On the 27th, we have a new moon at 4 degrees of Virgo in that practical area. I will say that this is going to be particularly true for the Aries people who are born in the first few days of March. Most of you, this full moon might actually fall in the 5th house. Full moon, new moon might fall in the 5th house for you. It's tricky. I don't like to talk about these things because it might not be accurate. I'd like to just act like everybody this is going to fall in your sixth house, because eventually you will have a new moon in the sixth house. So whether it's now or later, and in the sixth house, this could be a new job. This could be a new schedule that you have. Certainly, some people are, maybe you've been working from home and now you're going into an office environment, and or the opposite, where you've been in an office and now you're going to be working from a remote location. So things can be rearranged, and that's kind of why when Mercury is in the sixth house, you know, earlier in the month, starting on the fourth of the month, to really give some attention to, and kind of like, maybe write it out, like what is the best schedule for you if you have that kind of option at this present time, and if that's something that you're negotiating. Because not everybody thrives with the 9 to 5 um, schedule. Some people are afternoon people, and they are very energetic and inspired later on in the day. And some people, they could work at like 6 o'clock in the morning. They're just like bright eyed and bushy tailed. So I think that just in general, we're going to be getting more and more um, individualized with how we work. And we're seeing that just by technology allowing us that option. That's kind of the first foray into that. But having employers be more receptive to that reality will also make a big difference. Okay, that's what I have for you, Aries. I hope that this resonated. If you would like a private reading, I'm promoting my double readings because they are a discounted price. Since you're buying two, you're going to get a significant discount. The double astrology reading is called my deep dive reading, an hour of chart analysis with an hour of transits for the upcoming 12 months. And for those who like the tarot, I have an hour of chart analysis with a full-length tarot reading called The Whole Enchilada. And I have standalone readings as well. You can find out more information at rainandmoonastrology.com. The link is below. Thank you for listening. Take care. Bye.